Geeta, any changes?
Amol registration form is gone. The password wala part is still not there.
No, what is happening? Everything is the same. There's nothing has changed. ठीक है. I'm trying to rectify it.
Amol,
Yeah,
uh, it's still taking us directly.
checking it, checking it.
So one question, because मेरा संदीप का फाइल मेरे पास डाउनलोड नहीं हो रहा है. Hope you have it.
Yeah, we have it. I have it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. I'm keeping on trying, but then let me just ask you if you have it.
There are people in the waiting room. Geeta,
Shall I admit them?
wait. There are people in the waiting room.
It's Prerna and Nakul.
Yeah, they will be in the
It's
waiting room.
Nakul and Prerna.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I give them permission?
Yeah, sure.
Amol, my
Hi, hi Geetak.
Nakul is there, I guess.
Hi Nakul. Hi Prerna. Yeah.
Can we stop the recording right now? Let's start it at 11, no?
Before we start, I'll take you through a little hygiene for the entire session. Please ensure that we have uninterrupted high-speed internet. When you have joined, I'm sure that you must have filled your full name. During the session, try and keep your microphones on mute and the webcam turned off at all times. If you have any questions during the interactive sessions, please type in the chat box. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll be happy to answer all your questions. If there are any queries related to the technicalities, please mail it to us. Please do not interrupt during the webinar if the content is being displayed or the panelist or the host is speaking. And try and avoid not to leave the session in between. Thank you. So I'll hand it over to the Mr. Nakul Gupta, who's the head UV marketing for Tata Motors. He will take you through the next session and he will also introduce Mr. Sandeep. Over to you, Nakul. Good morning.
Thank you, Amol. I hope I am audible and the video is also on.
Yes, you're audible, very much audible.
Right. Thank you so much, Amol, and welcome to all the Soul members. I think we're very delighted to host the third session of the webinar series Connect with Soul, which we started sometime in August. As part of the Connect program, considering the fact that we've not really been able to do much as far as doing our drives are concerned, which is really the core of the program. But still, I think it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other in a slightly different format, though. I think over the last 2 months, we've been happy to have a couple of sessions. The first one where we introduced some of our soul members and they shared their stories over the past few years of the different drives that they have gone to. And then we followed it up with a very with Mr. K, who was a naturalist at the Taj Safaris. And he shared very, very insightful stories with us about the tiger, the king of the different jungles, what kind of different tigers we see around. And I think now we are going into another part of travel, which is actually a very, very strong part of travel, if I may say so, is photography. That if you don't capture your memories well, I think those memories slowly fade over a period of time. So I think photography really helps keep those memories, uh, makes them timeless, ageless, and for you to cherish even in the long times ahead. So for that, I think we've got him on board. We're actually very, very pleased to have with us Mr. Sandeep Mal. Sandeep is a leading wildlife photographer. He also happens to be one of the visionaries behind the wonderfully engaging wildlife magazine, Sivas, which he initiated some years ago. While it sounds like another photographer story, but I think once you hear the story of his transition from being a straight-jacketed businessman and industrialist to someone whose life now revolves around the wild outdoors, I think you all will be as inspired and surprised as we all were. So he's been inspired to not only see change, but also to be one. In 2008, he was involved in an almost fatal road accident while on his way from New York to New Jersey. He was trapped in a 10-car pileup, and in all that, his survival was nothing short of miraculous. Blessed with a second life, he took stock of his life thus far, and he came to realize that he had not done anything beyond running his business. It's really he found his kind of calling, and that's where he actively began pursuing his forgotten interests, cooking like a pro, drumming and shooting pictures like there was no tomorrow. So, too many facets to Sandeep, not just photography, what he'll talk about today. Nature in all its splendor seemed to motivate him to live life anew. This realization has actually changed his life forever. He's put his company on autopilot and has now become a full-time wildlife photographer. Over the years, he's won many awards and recognition, including being a winner at the prestigious DJ MPC in 2014 and a national winner at ICICA Camaraderie in 2015, along with getting special mentions in various sanctuaries, Nature's Best Photography, and many more global awards. His work has been widely published in various newspapers, magazines from across the globe. I think we are really, really lucky and fortunate to have him with us. I would now like to invite him to share his experiences and share his insights on how we can take photography to the next level during our next travels. Over to you, Sandeep. Welcome.
Thank you, Nukul. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are keeping safe. We are in very different and difficult times. And this is a nice connect, basically, during this time. So, Nakul has told a brief about me. I got into photography by chance, that one of my customers from Canada was here and he wanted to go into the wild. Ranthambore we went, and so I was living a life of pain with my disc. I have a disc replacement, so I have a titanium disc. So I have to live with a life with throughout where I'll be in pain. My left side of the body always pains. So when I went to Ranthambore with him, in those 3 days, I found out I had no pain. So that made me realize that something in nature or when you're outdoors, which is helping me. So that's where I slowly moved out of my work. I put my factory in autopilot, so we are professionals running it. And then I started doing a lot of photography and got into that genre of so over the years, I've done visited almost all the natural parks in the globe except South America. Africa is a second home for me, and I keep visiting there for my photography things. So here, last few years, what has happened is the cell phones have evolved as a great tool for capturing pictures, and because of that, for my holidays, I've stopped taking my DSLRs, and I prefer to take pictures with my iPhone, which I've been using for last many years. And so we'll talk about this photography using a cell phone. So there will be three part of this discussion. One will be technical side. We'll just rush through it because that's not something you can handle much in on a cell phone. It's mostly on autopilot mode. So you can use a lot of those things, but you should have a fair idea of what we are talking. Most of the portion we will be talking about composition. So if you have any question, I go through the slides, you just point it out, and you can ask it during the Q&A session. And third is post processing. So if I give photography, if you divide, 10% is technical, 75% of photography is composition actually. And nowadays in digital world, post processing plays a huge role in enhancing an image. So you can't increase the sharpness of a picture post processing, but you can manage the highlights and shadows and other things and make it more beautiful. So just going through the technical slides, just I hope you guys know what a focal length is. uh, so I'm not going into much details about all those things. If you nowadays the phones have the 0.5x, 1x, 2x. So these things are there. So 0.5x is what we call a wide angle. So if you want to have a wider angle of view, then you use that lens. It gives a different perspective. So this is mostly used when you are using a landscape or something. When you go into 1x on your phone, that is what is normal 50 mm. See, if the 50 lens that we use in a DSLR is basically what we see, the same focal distance as we see it with human eyes. So that's a normal lens and then the telephoto lens, which is on a phone, it becomes 2x, or the big lenses that you see during sports and IPL you must have seen, or wildlife photographers who carry it. That is like 300 mm, 400 mm and plus. So that is a telephoto lens which is used to take pictures from a distance, and the object looks closer to you. Similarly is the aperture thing. On a phone, you can't control the aperture. So aperture is 1 by f. So it's inversely proportionate. So the smaller the number, the more the aperture. So basically photography is all about light. If you want more light, you need to let the aperture be more open. So the lower the number, so 1.4 is where the aperture is the highest, the biggest actually. And f16 or f22 you go, it's where the aperture just opens for small portion of time. So whenever you are shooting a landscape, so you usually go into the higher side of, you want everything to be in the depth of field should be equal, everything to be in focus from your whatever is in the background and whatever is in the foreground. You want everything to be in focus. So if you are using a DSLR, you can always manage your aperture, and you should next is shutter speed. Shutter speed you can manage with your phone also. There are apps, or I think Google phones have, Android phones have shutter speed thing. But there are apps like Lightroom and all this where you can use the shutter speed and manage to let the shutter open for more time, so you can get the light in. But you have, if you are shooting something which is fast or moving or something like a car or somebody running or all this thing, then the shutter speed has to be very fast. If it's a still image, if a flower or something which is nothing is moving, then you can open up the shutter more while taking a landscape or something, or some object or some person. Then there is an exposure compensation in DSLRs. In phones also, if you see, if you click on the screen, if you're taking some picture, so there is this square comes on, which is to focus on that particular subject, and then a plus and minus sign comes. So if you increase the plus, then you see more brightness or more light. So if you want to, if there is a dark place or somewhere, and you want to have more light, you can increase the plus, and you can get more light in there. So that's called exposure compensation. In a phone, you can use these particular modes. So you can take pictures You can make time-lapse videos. You can shoot in slow motion. You can take portrait. You can make videos. You can take panorama. And I just said you can now also shoot slow shutter. So slow shutter you use basically, if there is a waterfall or the cars moving, the tail lights you have seen, those if you're shooting automobiles, then slow shutter helps there. So the majority of this session today, we will be talking about composition. I have seen, so many pictures people take, but the horizontal line is crooked. It's not straight. And uh, you can see the difference between the two images. If you have a crooked horizontal line, the image does not look even, or it does not look good. Whereas if your horizon line is straight, the image looks beautiful. So rule number one, always make the horizon line straight. Keep whenever you are shooting, just check that, we are always in a rush when you are shooting. So photography is not about speed. It's too slow. You should have give some more time about when you're taking pictures. Just ensure that, that the horizon line should be straight. Second is, whenever you're shooting a moving object, whether somebody is running or a car, or this guy's skating, so there should be more space in the front side of your main subject, which is in focus. So that gives a feeling of that movement going forward. If you just imagine the guy who's in the front, who is out of focus, if he would have been your main subject in focus, the image would look very odd if there is a lot of space in their back. So there should be more. 2/3 of an image should be in front of the your main subject, which is in focus. Third is rule of third. So rule of third is see, one is composition is everybody can have their own design. There is no fixed laws. These are all set of things, rules. What we are talking right now are the things which is which, uh, most of the time the picture will look good. So rule of third is again one such rule. So if you on your phone, you must have seen there are grids. So if your main subject, which is in focus, you should always try to put it in 1/3 portion of that grid. So that way, if you see these two wine glasses in a sunset, and there, the main subject is on the 1/3 part of your image, and rest of the image is out of focus, or so always, even if you are taking a sunrise or sunset or any image, so never have the horizon line in center. Keep it in 1/3 position. Either you will have 2/3 of sky, or you will have 2/3 of ground below. Whatever is interesting, the sky has interesting patterns and clouds and all these take 2/3 of that sky. Or if you have interesting foreground, take 2/3 of that as foreground. Then use the leading lines. A lot of situations you will find there are leading lines which go into the main subject. So this is a sunrise while I was running one morning in my city. So the road, the yellow lines and the lines, they are like going and meeting the sun. So you create and take the focus on the main subject there. Try to create frames when you are taking your an historic place, or this window on the left picture. So the curtains are giving a feeling of a frame. So or the pillars on that picture that is in Berlin, or this my only, and you'll see that that gives. So whenever you are trying to compose an image, look if there is a frame you can create there. Always try to have when you're shooting a landscape, try to have three layers: the foreground, middle ground, and the background. So usually we forget about the foreground, so we always, you go and you look something good and good, and you just shoot it. So like in the right image, which is the cactus plant and the rainbow. So if you see, without that cactus plants, that would have looked a very stale image. And now that raindrops on the cactus plant, and then you have a foreground, then there is the hills and the middle ground, and you have the cloud and rainbow there. So always, whenever you're shooting a landscape, try to take something interesting in the foreground. That changes the lot about the image. Look for patterns and repetitions. That makes images interesting. So when you are composing, you see the trees, or this is on a flight. I think it was Singapore Airways. So everybody was watching TV. So there is a repetition. So that light coming out of colorful screen, this thing makes the image interesting. Your images should always tell a story. There should be a soul to your image. So basically, whenever you are taking a image, you try. Whenever there is a story, the picture becomes beautiful. There are times when you can try to fill the frame. Like this case, I was lucky that this northern pintail, it came very near to me, and I was sitting there watching this sunset, and it thought that I'll offer something to eat to it, and it came to me. So just taking that sunset would have been a different image. Now with this pintail in front, or the right image, that is at I think Fatehpur Sikri. So just shooting through the nets, so I just filled up the frame with something to make it an interesting composition. Orientation, we always just keep on shooting. We don't care whether we are shooting horizontal or vertical. Most of the time people will just take a vertical shot. If this image was taken vertical, it will look very odd because I am lying horizontal. So that was me shooting at Beda in Rajasthan. Leopards, we were doing a project on shepherds and leopards of Beda. So that was when I was on the, and if you shoot this image vertical, this will look odd. So look at what is the orientation here. If you see, the orientation is the hills are all going horizontal. The vertical sky is very bland. There is nothing exciting in the sky just other than the color. So always check orientation, how you want to shoot. Look, I mean, the image looks good horizontal or vertical. Balance your image, like this sunset on the right, you see this is at Rishikesh. We're sitting by the Ganga and watching the sunset. So how to make it different, the sky was very, there was nothing, no excitement in the sky. It's like the typical October sky we have here in the city right now. So there's no clouds, nothing interesting in the sky. And I didn't want, and just water, was not making interesting. So we balanced the image with that sunset on the front, and with our feet, we spread out. This is, I took it using a GoPro. This is not from a cell phone, because that's why it's an ultra wide angle which you get in a GoPro. Depth of field. So now we have the portrait mode on phones. So you can always focus on the subject. Depth of field is basically you focus on one subject and the rest of the image is blur. When you have to focus on something which is like the eyes on the right hand side, you want to show the excitement of the eyes, so the color and the reflection and all this. So you want to make the rest of the things blur. So that is when you move to a portrait mode and shoot images. As I said, 90% of the images you always shoot on 2/3, 1/3, horizon line. But there are times when you find that there is a symmetry. There is a reflection which is coming proper, or both the images, you will see there is a sort of symmetry. That's when you just don't take 2/3. If you have taken that image 1/3, 2/3, same rule if you applied here, it would have not looked good. But because there is a symmetry in the image, so you put the horizon line in the center. Always catch the golden hour. So whenever we are on a holiday, we usually don't get up early, or in the evenings it's our alcohol time. So you don't see the sunrise and sunset. So you miss the golden hours. Always shoot during that golden hour, whenever you'll get the best of the colors. That is half an hour before sunrise to half an hour after sunrise, and half an hour before sunset to half an hour after sunset. Use people, when you are taking a landscape, use people. If you see, you feel the depth you can feel of this desert. There are people who are on the third layer. They look so tiny there. And the scale can give you an impression, which gives you the depth of the desert. It's like miles and miles it's going. So try to use people in your landscapes to make it more interesting. Use reflection. So a lot of the water bodies you can see, or the shadows and everywhere in sunrise, sunset times, you can try to use reflections to give it a different perspective to the image. This is in New Zealand, Wanaka. This is the most photographed tree actually in the world, it's said, the Wanaka tree. So it gives a different colors in every season. So you can go and shoot and capture the reflection, because the water is so still here. So you can see the stones and pebbles, below the water. So try to use reflection wherever it is to give a different perspective to the image. Play with light, wherever you just don't go and shoot, whenever there is a sunrise or something, you just move around 360 degrees and see which side I shoot. You can shoot with the sun on your back, you can shoot sun from your front, like the right image is shadows when we are doing on a camel at Jaisalmer, and me and my wife we're on top of it, and we're taking a safari on the desert. And so how do you make the landscape different? So we had, that image gives a story, that, so always try to create a story whenever, as I said earlier. So anything, if all of us will remember the Cadbury ad, that cricket heats a six and the girl um, jumping out of the stadium. It's a 30 years back advertisement, but that's because the ad tells a story. Similarly, all the images which you see, which you love, there will be a story. So always try to create a story. Use a different point of view. We all are used to seeing things from our own height. हम अपने angle से देखते हैं. Like you, every day you have a flower out in your garden or something, a tree in your garden or a plant in your garden, and you see it from the same height when you cross it. So try to capture images from different angles, like how it looks from the below, or if I change the perspective, the sunrise this is, it's I have taken from top of a vehicle. So so give it a different angle. Instead of my own height, I I increased my height and made the sun to go down the horizon level, that sort of thing. So try to give a different point of view to your images. And as I said, every image has to have a soul. So my all images, there will be a story behind it. So I'll just share one of the stories. This was in Botswana, and four of us, two couples, one my friend, and all four friends were down there, and we were driving. I also drive a lot, so all my holidays are on driving around. Most of I have done the whole of Africa on road. I have done most of India, and then crisscrossing US. So this was in Botswana. We had driven to a water body, and we had the place where we were staying. They are kind enough to arrange for a wine and cheese evening for us with a beautiful sunset. And while we were sitting there, suddenly we were surrounded by elephants. There were multiple elephants which came, and it would not even let us go to our vehicle because they were everywhere. So the best thing of footing them, and nothing else we could have done. So we took like thousands of pictures there of that sunset. This is one of my most published and most recorded image on that. And I mean, whatever new things we can create. So I had this wine glass, and I shot with, this is on a phone basically. So the elephant on that side. So that's let your imagination run, and that there should be a story, as I said. There should be a soul to your all images. What I did on every trip that I take, I combine some video pictures and make a small video of 2 minutes, which you can share with your friends and family, instead of sharing 50 pictures or 5, 10 videos. So I combine and I use I make So this was in 2015, old video, while I'd gone to Ghana to see tigers. So I just create some small video clippings, and then add up my images, still images to it, and compile a 2 minute. So this becomes something which you can share, or you can, one video will tell you the whole thing about your trip. You can add your hotel or the food, and So I'm just sharing a small one, which is from Ghana, way back into, and this was shot using an iPhone 6. So this is always make, as I said, make some vlogs. So it's very easy to share. You can put it on your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever it is, and share on WhatsApp with your friends and family. So, and for yourself also, So then there's certain tips to remember. Always using cell phone. Never use flash when you are doing photography with your phone. It kills the image. If you are short of light, try to get light from another phone, maybe another cell phone, switch on the torch light on that and get some light if you want, but don't use flash. Never zoom. So basically, it's digital zooms are different from there. So these are all digital zooms. If you zoom a picture, the image quality will suffer. So it's better you take a picture and then crop it later. You still have a better image than zooming. Tell a story, as I said earlier. Try to use a tripod. I have a very small tripod for phone, which I carry with me. So the difference between amateurs and professionals is tripod. I'll be honest. And but on a phone, the shake is not that much, but still, like if I am shooting something fast or image or something, so I even use a timer instead of taking it, just because when you press the screen to take a picture, the phone shakes. So you don't want it to shake. You can't create a billboard out of an image if there is a slight shake also. So you put it on a timer and 3 seconds and 10 seconds or something. So by the 10 seconds the image is clicked, the phone stabilizes back after you have pressed it. Keep your phone charged. You don't want to you reach their destination and then find that your phone, you have spent a whole your time doing Facebook and Instagram and discharge your phone, and uh, there is no battery when you have reached your destination. Then clean your lens. So the phone, you are putting your hand all throughout, it's in a pocket, or you're eating something and your hand, you put it on the lens, and when you take an image you don't realize, but when you just download it on your laptop or computer sometime later on, and you find that there are the picture is not sharp or something, is because the lens was not clean. Always organize and back up your photos. So delete what you don't like. No point in keeping things which are not good. Just your, and I tag my pictures. So I have almost like 8 hard drives of 2 terabytes each, and of pictures of my last 10 12 years around the globe. And I mean, there's four hard drives and 4 backups, so I always have one backup image hard drive. But I can pull out any image if you want I have ever taken in 2 minutes. So you just, whenever you're downloading on your computer, just tag so you can search, easily you can locate or find out of any image. And before you go on a holiday, you always plan, you find out a lot of things about that place. कहाँ देखना है, क्या घूमने जाना है, कहाँ खाने की जगह अच्छी है. Just research your location for photography purpose also. कि what is the good time, like you are going to Missouri, so Tiger Hills कब जाने से अच्छा sighting मिलता है. You get a good sunrise or whatever. So there are tons of blogs on every possible tourist destination that you are going, and if you spend some time, you will get uh, a lot of information. What is the best time to shoot that particular? You're going to Taj Mahal, so what is the best time to go and shoot in Taj Mahal? And have patience. So whenever we are taking a picture of our loved one, in front of a say Taj Mahal, and there are a lot of people moving around, and you will see that in your image there are 10 other people you don't want in that image. कोई इधर से जा रहा है, cross कर रहा है. So have some patience. Let them shoot. Then you tell them that you move out. Let us have a picture, so that at least you have picture that you want. You don't have to rush around and just shoot. And as I had said earlier, you can change your focus. So you can tap on your screen on whatever you want to have something in focus, and you can change your focus of the subject where you want to actually have focus. Another important thing these days is post-processing. There are wonderful apps. They are all free of cost. You don't have to pay. And on phone, you can process your image and enhance it. So I use Lightroom and by Adobe and Snapseed by Google to process my. You can download these images and you can these apps and you can play around and you will get a fair idea of how to do it. They're very simple tools there. And for making my videos, I use iMovie from Apple. So these are the apps that I use for my shooting. So that's about it. I hope I was able to give some good tips which will be helpful for you guys to take some pictures going forward. And I am available anytime you want to share some pictures. You can WhatsApp me or you can share with mail me, and I'll revert back if anything needs to be done to improve on it, and I'll try to help you out. Thank you everyone for hearing so patiently. Now we'll, as we all know that there was a contest going on, and we had 3 winners. So I'll one of the winners we have here is Samir there, and Samir, can you just tell us a few things about this pictures that you have? You have wonderful images there.
Thank you, Sandeep. It was a pleasure listening to you. All your travel logs are actually, going through my head as I'm going through this picture, the first one. So this was the first picture which you see on the left. It was our last spur of the moment trip to Gir. It was in the middle of hot summer. We were desperately wanting to get away. So me and my wife decided we just kind of drive out. We stay in Baroda, so it was about say 7 to 8 hour drive. It was, and I had to start a bit late in the afternoon. So we were on the Rajkot highway, and when and as you're going, you're actually going from east towards west. So your sun is always on the face, so you never realize that. And there was this turn which came in, and the sun was setting, and like I caught this sun setting right at the horizon, and it was so stark because the entire journey was, that May heat and the dry weather everywhere. And this was such a respite with the clouds rolling in. And that's when we just fished out the phone, and I told my wife to just take a picture, just ensure that, because she was beside me and I was driving and I can't actually do all this risky stuff. So I just asked her to just get her hand behind me and take a picture, touching the lens on the glass. So you will still find a few reflections on the glasses there, because it was that picture had to be taken, and obviously we cropped it a bit later and square because there was a lot of other things. But the best part was we could find the road, the journey. There's a lot of story in here, the changing colors of the sky, and eventually the hot day was slowly getting into a cooler evening. So that's what got explained in this picture. So the journey, the colors, and the framing, it's not the rule of the 1/3, but I had to keep the sun in the center. So this is how the sun came in the center after composition, mind you. So this is what I had to say about my first picture. The second picture, of course, all the pictures are through my Hexa only. So the second picture is about, there's a ground which is close to our place. And my son had just turned 18 and he was trying to get his license. So we had taken the other car to teach him driving. And I was standing there doing nothing. And suddenly, because again, it was dusk. So the flyover behind us, the lights had come on and it was looking beautiful. And the shine on the car came up so wonderful. I just had to take this picture. So that's how this picture came about. And there's the hugeness of the vehicle actually stood out. It was more like the story here is more of how much I am in love with the car and the setting behind it. So that was the picture of the story of the second picture, with the lights coming in and the shiny car in the foreground. The third picture has actually a very somber and a very deep story for me. It was again, all these pictures, mind you, are from 2019. So the first one was in May, the second one was in June, and the third one is in August. Normally, we don't have rains in our part of the world and in Gujarat here, till July. And in the first week of August, we were in the office, and there was a sudden downpour. It was literally a cloudburst. So we decided we'll close office and then we'll leave for home. One of my colleagues really was stuck because he didn't have a vehicle, so I had to go and drop him. So as I was on the way to his place is in a low-lying area, and there was so much of water that mine was the only vehicle which was running around, and there was another old man who had to go to the same place, and we picked him up on the way. It was only our vehicle which really waded through, and I dropped him, and came down. I have never driven, but I think the Hexite gave me a lot of confidence. So I did that, and when I came home, I was like stunned to look at what's embedded in there in the front grille and everything. And I said, gosh, if it was for any other car, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I just took this picture with a different angle, trying to tell a story about how difficult this thing was, because I would never have done that on my sedan. And you could see the water on the bonnet out there because the water had gushed really on the top of it also at times. And I felt really fantastic with this beast. So these are the three short stories I had to tell about these pictures. And I'm open for questions later. Thank you.
Thanks, Samir. If I look at the first two images, if I was to take it, I'll change a certain point of view here. So in the first image, I'll go a bit, take my hands out of the window, like if I'm behind the driver's seat, and I take the picture and take more of the sky, and not put the horizon line on the center, because it's the ground is not anything soothing there. It's a lot of negative space there. So I'll have the mirror come in the center of the image instead of just at the lower bottom. Similarly, the second image, again, I'll try to change the point of view and take it from an height, like I'll take my hands up there and shoot with an angle where you're looking up, down. Yeah. So because the sky is not interesting and my area of focus is the vehicle there, my car. So I'll like to give it a different angle to it. Third is okay. It is cropped basically. I don't know if the image was cropped or it has been put on the slide like this. But I like to have the whole vehicle,
it is cropped that way, I think.
So this is the three images that we are talking. Second, Mr. Babban, can we have your stories here, please? Congrats on being the winner.
Thank you, Sandeep. Hello, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, please.
Yeah, thank you. So recently I visited this place called Amboli in Western Ghats. I work in Bangalore, but I'm in Belgaum in my hometown from last 6 months working from home. So this place is just around 60 kilometers away from my home. So we all were frustrated sitting at home, not driving or making trips. So me and my family, my sister family thought of taking a small trip. It's a half-day trip we took, and we actually carried our food, everything, and this sanitizer, wearing mask. The trip was a bit difficult, and this place is like there are so many points you can visit, but I seen like the most of the points were like occupied by people, so we didn't take risks getting down on the points, but we created our own spots. We just stopped by road and we clicked these pictures. So the first picture, my son and my sister's son, we just stopped by road and clicked this picture. And the second one was this road goes to a particular point, and that road was completely deserted. So that's why I got an opportunity to click this picture in the middle of the road. And this we really enjoyed driving in the deep jungle. There were few fallen trees, so we were able to make the narrow gap just because we had the confidence in our vehicle. So it's a small gap, and we very easily pass through that gap, and we enjoyed that one also. And the third one also, the same trip. All the three pictures from the same trip, captured at the different locations. And these are not popular spots. We just stopped somewhere wherever we felt comfortable and clicked these pictures. That's
Uh,
it, Sandeep.
Yeah, Bhavan, I'll give you some tips here on these three with beautiful
Yeah.
images in the color of the car, and it looks good. So in the first image, if I were to take the image, I'll do two changes. One is I'll go on my knees and take the picture, and like the kids look, bigger than what they are, larger than life type of thing, taking the
Okay. Yeah.
short-term look. And there is somebody on the driver's side standing, so I'll remove that person from this. I'll say I'll not take a candid shot. This could have been a very good image frame with the kids. So I'll change the angle and clean up the rest of the space here. The second image, what I will do is I'll reverse my car a bit. I don't like negative space behind of the car, so I'll have the car, on the further on the back, so there is more space in the front of the car, and the negative space which is there on the right side of, of my screen, basically of the left side of the car. So that I like to, I'll have more space on in the front of the car, doing that. Same similarly with the third image also, I'll have more space on the back, revert, and and cover more of the clouds, again maybe going down a bit and not taking from the eye level, but changing the point of view here. But they are all beautiful, and the second image I really like it. I mean, uh, that's come out very good. It gives a feel of the image of monsoon, and that's all. Congrats again, yeah. Uh,
Thank you. Thank for your tips.
Thanks, Srinivas. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Sandeep. Thanks for the excellent show. Actually, I am also a slightly shutterbug, and my
Okay.
subject is always Hexa because this is one of the most photogenic vehicle. Means okay. The first one, if you look at all three were planned. There was nothing impromptu about the photos.
Hmm.
The first one was taken in Jaisalmer, the sand. We had an off-roading session just before that. There were almost 50 vehicles. So actually, I had to wait. They said patience is one of the key. So I had to wait for the crowd to move and then take it to into a place where only the vehicle, my vehicle, is visible. And during the journey, it was Jaisalmer to Bangalore. Means from I live in Bangalore, I was going to Jaisalmer for that Seoul Hexa meet. I had a dog hit on the right side of the vehicle. So I wanted to cover that also. So I took the other angle so that part will not be visible. And I wanted that back sand to be from means visible from promote that. And the second one was in between Badami and Bijapur in Karnataka. So we were traveling on a picnic. So this was taken almost in the middle of the noon. I wanted to take the technology part, how the technology is changing the world. So, and as soon as I saw the windmill, I had to stop. And I knew that if I go further, I will not be able to get the full windmill. So I had to stop as soon as I saw the windmill, and also ensure that there are no other vehicles that were passing. So to get a exclusive view of both the windmill and the car. This was in Vijapur, close to Bijapur, the North Karnataka. The third photo is in Leh, that is in between Leh and Pangong Lake. This is Changla, the Changla, which is 17,688 feet. This we had gone with family. We had covered all North India, Leh, Ladakh, Srinagar, Kargil, Spiti Valley. So it was a long 3 week journey. The vehicle and means it was like photogenic throughout. We had taken almost some 7,000 photos in this trip, and almost 3,000 plus were of Hexa alone. The vehicle alone was
Oh,
3,000 plus photos. Plus, I wanted to bring the my soul story, where the components of nature, be it sand, wind, snow, because we are limited to three, I avoided water and other components. So this is my story about this photos.
perfect. Srinivas, see, I mean, you have presented it also very well, with the three elements of nature. In the second image, what I will do is I'll go more closer to the vehicle while taking the image. The If you see in the corner, left side corner, there is something which is there, which is disturbing the image. I
The
don't know.
grass.
Something is there, so I'd like to avoid that. Go more, closer to the vehicle. The
Okay.
image, the space below the on the lower is negative space out there in the image.
Okay.
So similarly, I don't know, maybe these images are cropped for the presentation, or because it cannot
Yeah,
be.
slightly cropped. Yeah.
So on the first image also, I would like to have more space in front of the vehicle.
Okay.
And the third image is also, I mean, I would like to have it more,
From
what
back.
we call the point five, if you are shooting, like wider angle, so you
Okay.
can have the more landscape also along with the car, because that's a beautiful landscape with the clouds and white color and the reflection of the clouds on the hills, the
Yeah.
snow. So and maybe some processing on that image could enhance it. Maybe a black and white image can make it more beautiful also. You can try your hand making it black and white. So this is congrats again all the three winners. And I don't own a Tata vehicle, but I'm going to have one in next 2 weeks. So someday we'll be riding with you guys in Seoul, somewhere for sure. So we can have some question answer, and
Sandeep, I'll read out the questions to you.
yeah, okay.
Is mobiles, this is from Amrish Deshmukh, is mobiles GoPros lowering down the usage of traditional DSLRs? People just want to shoot whatever they have, and also everyone is in a hurry to share them on social media. This is from Amrish.
Okay. Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
People are nowadays going on mobiles and GoPros, which is lowering down the usage of traditional DSLRs. Do you think so? Is this happening? Hello, Sandeep. Sandeep, are you audible? Hello.
Only for photography purpose, then I take my cameras. If I'm just going for a holiday with my family or friends, and there is the point is the photography is not the main purpose of the trip. I've also moved on to phones, because the phone cameras have become fantastic nowadays. I mean, the iPhone 11 Pro that I use is a tremendously good camera. I mean, I now take most of my pictures using phone. And if you see on Instagram, if you I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you'll see a lot of my images there. So that slowly and gradually, I will that point and shoot camera is completely taken over by the phone, and you get very good images on phone also. Until unless you are doing it for a professional work or something, you can always skip the DSLR. It has become very heavy to carry around actually on a holiday. So, but obviously DSLR quality will be different. It will be much better than a phone quality.
So the second question, Sandeep, comes from Mr. Ashok Sharma. What are the key points to be kept in mind when trying to shoot portraits?
So, hi Ashok. See, whenever you are taking a portrait, that means you are closer to the person. So, and you have to focus on the subject. You can tap on the screen and make sure to focus. When you're taking portrait, you should actually, if you focus, if you're taking it a person, say, so then you should focus on the eyes, because the eyes is something which is, you click on the eyes and take the image there. And rest of the thing the phone does basically. And if the lighting is a bit less, if we are shooting using Lightroom or some software where you can monitor, you can control the shutter speed. Normally you can't control the shutter speed, it's an auto click. But if you're doing a photo shoot, with somebody, like I do my family photo, tomorrow we have a photo shoot in the family. So I use my phone, and I use a lot of portrait mode, and I take pictures. Portrait mode, you just keep in mind, you focus on the right subject. Your lighting should be good. So preferably a natural, normal outdoor light. If you don't have an outdoor light, if it's an indoor shoot, then you have to see that your light is coming on the subject.
So the next question comes from Amitava. Would you suggest using the external lenses available for mobile phone camera? Very interesting.
Yeah, there are certain good lenses which you get. The quality of the lens has to be good. I have never used it. See, the whole purpose of using lenses are either you use it for a macro photography or you want to make the angle wide. So in both the cases nowadays, phones, they have both the possibilities as there. You can download softwares which takes macro photography. So uh, I have not used, to be honestly, I have not used any of these lenses on phone. But there are certain lenses which I have read about, and some brands which are very good and people have been using. And in fact, people have done more than the lens. If you buy a good, tripod, which very well, there will be no shake when you are taking a video. The Langcart, or there are other brands also which are available. And GoPro has a tripod, which is so that is better. And you should always, people usually, you guys who are driving so much, you should have one of those for your videography while driving. If somebody else in the vehicle is making videos, so that will have shake free videos. There will be no handshake coming on the video. So instead of investing on the lenses, I'll prefer to invest on the lens, that tripod, or whatever you call that.
There are quite a lot of people who are asking for your contact details, and they want to share their photographs and ask you what next to be done on those photographs.
Yeah, my email ID is me@sandeepmal.com. Feel free to mail me your images. You mail me from the field, I'll respond you back, and I'll tell you go and shoot again, in 5 minutes, that if at all any changes are needed. You can write down me@sandeepmal.com, or you can find me in Twitter and Instagram, Sandeep Mal.
Okay, so we'll take the last question here, Sandeep. How should one decide on use of various filters? Like, should it be based on the subject or on the overall frame?
It will be not on the subject. Basically, it will be on the overall frame. And you should, whenever you are processing the image, I rarely use filters because it looks artificial. To be honest, the image is not natural. But if you want to use a filter, take the picture and then use the filter during post processing. There are a lot of, the Photoshop software has a lot of filters. Lightroom has filters, and this Instagram and all these do have filters. So I'll prefer to use it after taking the picture and not subject wise. And you have to experiment. Some filters, looks good on some. But I'll suggest not to use filters, and you just process it. Try to use Lightroom or Snapseed to process your image, and you will see a lot of difference. Let it be natural. It will look much better instead of using filters.
Okay, so I think so we are done with the questions here, and I would like ask Nakul to give a thank you note to everyone.
Before you finish, thank you everybody. Thanks for the time you gave and listening to me patiently. It was wonderful talking to you. Yeah, Nakul.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for such a enriching and a very, very gripping session. I think getting a lot of messages that this is something people wanted for a lot of time. And I think your insights have been really helpful. I'm sure your mailbox will be flooded now, which is good. And I hope we can get you very, very soon on one of the soul trips so that we can engage further and see how we can make our photographs and our vehicles and the beautiful terrains that we cover stand out even more.
Sure.
Thank you so much to all the participants as well for coming in, sharing their photographs, the winners, and everybody else for participating so actively. And I hope we picked up some tips which we can use uh, and make our photographs really stand out next time we get to travel. Thank you once again to everyone, to my team and Sandeep and everyone once again. Let's look forward to connect again for the next session in the coming weekends. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.